Oh, yes. Yeah.
Did you see that big guy? Gap Tooth Gaines is tearing it up. Follow the moves just like this.
We back, man. And this is the fourth and final installment of the Marquett versus the two white supremacists reaction series on the Gap Tooth Gaines channel. And it's been a great debate, man. I'm not gonna lie. And hey, shout out to Frojax, man, for even, going up there and, intellectually duking it out with Marquett, because, hey, man, it's been great content. Number one, it's been a great debate, and it's dope. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this one out, man. Let's finish it strong, and let's see the conclusion. You dig? Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Road to 5K. We on the way, and let's get into it.
No, that's a really good question. Where do we go from here? And that was actually the question I started off with, which is like, if you had a magic wand, because when we can figure out where do we go from here, if we figure out what the outcome is, magic wand, then we can identify the steps. And that's why I wanted to get really clear on what that would be.
That's why I want to know what you're asking with the magic wand, because the whole concept of absolute power corrupts absolute. You're saying, what really motivates Forrest? What would I do if I could control everything, the laws of nature, if you will, right? But like, to me, it would just be like, everyone would just be happy and get along. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe you could say I'm lying. Maybe you could say that that's not true or naive, but if we're saying a magical godlike power, that's what it would be. But if you're saying in practical application, what would my response be to race relations and women and Jewish occupying our government? So it's like, we're talking about like, what would it actually look like practically versus what would a magic wand do? So that's why I kind of wanted to clarify that.
Well, what we know is going on is different than where do we need to go to. And so the magic wand idea is based on where do we need to go to.
Yeah, I understand.
And yes, and there's different ways to get there. And like, for example, I think generally, of course, when white supremacists talk to me, I mean, I'm not in your club. So that would,
a certain label.
I understand. And
You just accepted in the last video that basically it's in your nature to want to conquer some stuff, right? Like but you don't want to accept the white supremacist. Like, what are we doing, gang? No more monkey double backflips. Like, either you be on the logic line or me not. What's up?
I just want to also note for the public, I am not identifying Forrest as a white supremacist.
You're identifying him and you have it in the title, but it's fine.
No, the title was actually there like several days ago, like before we even talked. So I just want to be honest with everyone.
Down for days.
I want to be I just want to be honest with everyone that that title was already there, and I just, instead of taking out the extra time to create a new link, I just used the existing link. And so I apologize. Why was it there? I apologize if you feel like I misrepresented you guys with
That's okay, but you put it there because you knew you were
days ago I put it there because there was someone else I was going to talk to on this topic.
Oh, a different white supremacist. Okay.
Different set. Yeah. And I saw what you were saying, and I'm very sincerely interested to know what you folks really believe, because sometimes people will be on Instagram and they'll say the N-word hard R on Twitter or IG, and they'll say it to get views. But I think some of them are maybe not rabid racist, and some of them are. And like I'm always curious to know, what is the pulse, because I'm not white and you're going to get a different sense of things. And I want to know what's going on.
Well, a lot of times when people ask us questions like that, what they're asking is like, are we in the same club? Do you hate me? If it were up to you, would I just die or something like that? And the answer is no. And I mean, you can take that as honest, or you can just assume there's some sort of cloaked agenda.
I think that the answer is no for you. And I also think that your brother there, if left to his own devices, would create mass murder.
They're laughing awkwardly because look at that face right there. Look, I don't believe that face at all. Marquett might be actually on to something. Marquett might be actually on to something. But I forgot what I was about to say. that was funny, man. Hold on. This was stupid. We're going to let it play a little bit more. I might remember. Hold on.
I think maybe it's just because I smile more. Is that what's going on? Because we don't really disagree.
That's what I was going to say. Jackson only feels like that, or what's his name? The one on the right. He only feels like that because they're in the position of power that they're in. If you put them in black folks' position in America tomorrow, they would not be as peaceful as we've been about the whole situation, gang. They would definitely be plotting revenge because it's in their nature. Like, the hatred's in their nature. You know it.
Marquett, one of the first things I said in the interview as the bedrock for my now transforming ideology is how do we better society for everybody? I have no interest in killing anybody. I just feel like very much
your thesis on how that's attained,
right,
which is through white leadership, it ignores the reality that the white leadership you speak of that you say was so good in Africa was thrown out through revolutionary warfare, which is to say people risked their lives to get the whites out of there because it was brutal and unpleasant. So your thesis that colonialism was a good thing and that there was a happy Africa under colonialism would suggest that you'd be willing to reestablish that, and that can only be reestablished through violence. And so just the fact that you're able to psychologically skip over the fact that it was thrown out lets me know that you'll probably try it again, and that would require mass murder. And I'm not saying you're a particularly bad person. I'm just saying that you are representative of the vicious white ruling class.
You are representative of the bloodline you hail from, boy.
Okay, I didn't neglect the fact that they were overthrown, nor did I say that Africa was just happy because it was ruled by white people.
But
it's
you
obvious
basically
that under
did.
any sort of regime, there's going to be no shortage of human rights abuses. That's not what I'm saying. I wouldn't say that just because white people are in the area that everything's just going to magically be perfect overnight. I'm saying that overall, I think white people build a certain texture of society, and I find that texture to be more preferable. That doesn't.
Maybe because you're a white person? I don't know. Maybe you like societies where, you know what I'm saying, it's hard to gain access to health care, where we pay extraordinary amounts of taxes, where it's always warring and fighting. And if it's not against foreign peoples, it's against amongst y'all selves. Like, people like to talk about Chicago and how bad black people are doing in Chicago and all the gang violence and the shooting and killings, but people fail to realize that the spirit of Chicago and the culture of Chicago was established by Al Capone and them, the bootleggers, and bodies were dropping in Chicago at extraordinary rates long before black people were really up in there like that. And we praise those people. Everybody loves Scarface. Everybody loves Al Capone. You know what I'm saying? So, like, gang, y'all breed a certain culture of chaos, you know? And that might be to your liking, but that don't mean you get to determine that that's to other people's liking. They like their native cultures. If you think your culture is the best, go ask the Hawaiians how they feel right now. You know what I'm saying? Pacific Islanders will probably have something to say to you. Go ask the Puerto Ricans. You dig? Like, your culture isn't the best, gang. It might be the best for you, but y'all need to keep that shit to yourself.
Mean that I want to go out and kill people. I don't understand how you're characterizing it that way.
And if you're telling me
it's the same way. I'm just going to respond since he spoke. I'm just going to respond since he spoke, and do remember what you were saying, and I'll just come right back to you. And I did give you a heads up that we'd have to like extend the interview just because there's two of you guys. So to respond to what Jackson said, what you're saying out of your mouth is reminiscent of the nature of the white American Christian who was still able to enslave generations of people, beat them at the whipping post while being a good Christian. So the likelihood of me trusting what you're saying is very low, because you still have the ambition to rule over other peoples, and you're dressing it in the idea that you're not a brutal person. I think if you ask any of the Christians who enslaved blacks if they were a bad person, none of them will say they're a bad person. Just like if you ask a promiscuous woman, is she a slore? She's gonna say absolutely not. So very rarely do people admit their faults or admit their dark side. They always want to represent themselves well, and that's no disrespect to anybody. That's just, you said that you prefer colonization, and colonization is something that is only done through violence.
Well,
I'm
the
not hiding
only
my dark
the only
side.
places in the world where you can still buy slaves are not white countries, and that's because white Christians abolished slaves. So is that what is that? Is that a
I'll be
culture?
honest with you.
Is
I'll
that
be
is
honest
that
with
evil
you.
European DNA? What is
I
that?
will be honest with you, Forrest. I have been fascinated with the idea of buying some slaves just because of the sheer level
Nigga,
of
what?
productivity I could get.
Run that back. What this nigga just say? Marquett. What?
Forrest. I have been fascinated with the idea of buying some slaves.
Marquett, what are we talking about, gang? I'm gonna let this play out. And I want you to clean that up, dog. You gotta clean that up for me, gang. Hold on.
Just because of the sheer level of productivity I could get, right?
I get that
So
you're joking. I get that you're joking. But I want an answer.
No. I'm not joking. I'm serious. So
Okay.
I'm serious.
I hope this nigga
So
joking,
I've been
gang.
researching, where can you acquire slaves?
What?
And often Mauritania comes up as a place where you can acquire slaves. Of course, Libya. And this was a direct result of the Barack Obama administration with Hillary Clinton at the head of the foreign policy on Libya. And I'd say in all of those cases, it's pretty much a lie, except in Libya, there were open slave markets, which is basically an Arab country. And still in various parts of the Middle East, they don't have actual slavery, but they don't have de jure slavery, but they have de facto, like, I think slavery would be strong, but they treat people way worse than you'd be treated anywhere else in the world. So I think that's the closest you can get is parts of the Middle East, plus Libya, which are all essentially Arab, in some cases Muslim countries. So
why did white Christians get rid of it first?
Why did white Christians start it?
White Christians didn't start slavery. Are you serious? You think slavery?
I'm very serious, and I'll answer your question.
Jesus got here?
Chattel slavery was its own special breed of slavery. Slavery before the transatlantic, like white folks brand of slavery, y'all dehumanized people, gang. You literally took people's humanity away. What are you talking about?
I'll answer your question. So number one,
you think slavery started after Jesus got here?
So I'll help you. When you say white Christians ended slavery, the truth is white Christians stopped the slavery that they were doing. So to be clear with you, if you tell me, hey, Marquette, are you not thankful that the white Christians, gave you a bandage on that big wound that you had in your back? I said, yeah, I really appreciate that. The only thing better is white Christians never stabbed me in the back. That would be the only thing better than that. So I think it's very disingenuous to suggest that white Christians are good people for stopping slavery. It's like, what about the hundreds of years that they enacted slavery? What about the fact that they started up the slave trade that they ended? Furthermore, this is worth noting, and I'm speaking from the facts, and feel free to contradict me with the words of a scholar, Dr. Mario Ariola, who's one of the foremost scholars in African studies, has written extensively, and I studied under him. And he specifically talks about the forms of slavery you mentioned, which is forms of slavery in the continent of Africa that predated transatlantic slave trade, which was done by the white Christians.
Indentured servitude.
That form of slavery was radically different, far less violent. You didn't inherit your status. It was typically not on the basis of ethnicity or race. It was on the basis of being a prisoner of war. You could buy your way out, and it was nothing on the order of what the Europeans did. So comparatively, to even use the same name is probably not a good idea. And that comes from the foremost scholar on that topic. Okay. I yield the floor.
Okay, well, you're saying a bunch of things, but I mean, I want you to address it specifically. So
I just said something that is for you to address, and I just addressed it with the words of a scholar, and everyone can Google Dr. Mario Ariola.
You say a bunch of things and then ask a question and expect me not to go back and address the whole tirade you just went on, which I'm going to do. So I asked you, why did white Christians get rid of slavery first? And basically you responded by saying, well, they started it, so they had a moral duty. So I'm not gonna say thank you.
I didn't say they had a moral duty.
You basically effectively said, I'm not going to thank someone who created it. And that would be a contradiction to my initial statement. Had slavery been exclusive to white people, which it's not. The word slave, you're from Berkeley, comes from Slavs. Slavs were enslaved first. It's not exclusive to whites. Everybody's enslaved everybody. So I don't want to do that whole sanctimonious thing. Why did white Christians?
So in what other cultures was it babies being used for alligator bait? castrating the men, buck breaking the men, raping the men in front of their wives and children to demasculize them, emasculate them. Like, what, brother? I ain't calling you brother. You ain't my damn brother. Bro, you lost, gang. You are lost. This dude is lost. What are we talking about?
Christians make it the purpose of the law to abolish slavery before anybody else. Can you answer that specifically without citing other people?
That's not true. That's not true.
So who abolished it first?
When you say it, you're referring to the slavery that white Christians created. They stopped their own slavery. But I'll also have you know two meaningful facts. Number one, while the British were stopping slavery, they were still buying the proceeds. They were still buying goods that were created by slaves. And you can actually Google and find that evidence is very clear. In addition to that, it's the evolution of economies. Even people who suggest that the Civil War was to end slavery, this is utter nonsense. The reason that slavery was easy to end at a certain point is because of mechanization, the cotton gin. So when you realize that you do not need huge populations of Black Africans working the cotton fields, then you stop enslaving them. Furthermore, from an economic standpoint, you start to overproduce a particular good. You have to have a market to sell it to. Of course, they're sending part of it abroad, but they also want a domestic market. And as much as that's the case, they needed to have more consumers, people who can spend money. And so you don't have the Black slaves working on the fields because we have the machines. We now turn them into an additional consumer class, albeit a second-class citizen. And it is the evolution of the economy. That would have never happened earlier on. It had to happen when the necessity for slavery became economically inefficient.
And how did that happen? How did it become economically?
Did you not understand what I just said?
Yes, I did. I want you to be. I want you to.
Then why would you ask that?
So you're saying the Industrial Revolution essentially contributed?
I did not say the Industrial Revolution, but
saying it became
loosely an easier way to understand it.
Right.
It
became more lucrative to not have slaves, basically, in layman's terms. Is that kind of what you're saying? Therefore, there was nothing moral about it. It makes more money if we use a machine, free the blacks. Is that what you're saying?
What is the point of your argument? Are you suggesting that like white people are good people because they stopped enslaving people? Like, is that the argument? It's bizarre.
The whole question was, why did whites abolish slavery? And you went on this whole thing about how the
and I answered your question 2 separate times.
Hold on.
He bodied your question, and now you're doing backflips trying to move the goalpost, and you have no goal to shoot at. That's what this is. Now, instead of a gotcha question that you tried to inquire about, you're trying to flip it into no, this was a serious inquiry. I just wanted to know. I didn't know.
The Civil War wasn't about abolishing slavery, which
I gave you an analogy. Like I gave you an analogy of something that's the wrong assumption.
Okay, but you didn't answer my question really. Why did white Christians abolish slavery? The cotton gin, is that your answer?
I'll yield the floor for you to explain.
I'm asking a question.
I just answered it twice. And so now I said I'll yield the floor for you to answer the question.
I'm trying to learn. I don't know the answer. I wasn't there, but I'm asking you because you seem very certain.
You're repeating yourself.
Now you're just playing games, brother.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to repeat myself.
Oh, because you already answered it. Okay, well, I guess we'll leave it to the jury for.
He already answered.
The jury, people in the jury were saying that you guys are playing dumb.
I know what they're saying. Yeah.
What other questions would you like to ask us, Marquett?
Thank you for that. Let's see.
So we do have a live stream in 15 minutes, but
absolutely.
We're doing good here.
Let me go see if the folks sent in any questions, and then I'll hop off. Shout out to Patrick. He writes, "You're a genius, Saint. These guys don't measure up." I also acknowledge Mark came in supporting the work via PayPal. Appreciate you, Patrick. Shout out to Charlie, writes support. May I also acknowledge Joseph, writes tuition. I received the shoes yesterday. They fit perfectly. Thank you. Oh, by the way, we had a giveaway, sasmbrand.com. We sent out some athletic shoes. We actually do what we say we're going to do. And may I also acknowledge Johnny. He writes tuition came in via Venmo. May I also acknowledge via PayPal. Shout out to Reginald. He writes whites with this mentality must be eradicated for the world to be a better place. God damn it.
Wow, I would never say anything like that. That's
I don't think you would say that.
Well.
I don't think you would say that.
I don't think you would say it. I think you would just do it. That's the difference.
Max at it again.
Jeffrey writes, interesting. When faced with being intellectually outmatched, they default to sarcasm to shield their embarrassment. I also acknowledge Evan writes, peace
Yeah,
to the
it's more
saints.
like an interruption. Oh, okay.
I was just going to carry on real quick. He writes, I would like to ask the two men you are interviewing a question. Okay, so he sent it via email. I'll come back to that.
Finally, a question for me. I feel
right,
like
right, the two men, yes.
it's because he looks more Germanic. They're like, he's the bad one.
The young man who said he was going to send a question, I literally don't see it, and these gentlemen have to go. So I don't see your question. Just please resend it right now. I just want to ask one quick, I don't even want to say quick. I don't want to lie. Who knows? It's up to you guys. But we'll start with whichever one of you wants to start. If there was one thing in Black culture, this is a two-part question. I'll just give you the first part, let each person answer, and I'll give you the second part. If there's one thing in Black culture that you could fix, you just pick one thing, what would you fix?
I think a lot of people would agree fatherlessness is a pretty big problem. You know, having the foundation of the masculine figure in the home is one of the most important things for any flourishing community. You know, it starts in the family and then it goes from there. And I think it's pretty much inarguable. You know, Thomas Sowell, people like this have been talking about removing the father figure and the absolutely catastrophic effects that's had on the Black communities. So I think after that, you'd see a lot of improvement, honestly.
That wasn't a bad answer.
How about some gratitude? I would appreciate a little bit of gratitude because, I mean, Blacks, and granted,
Who the fuck are we supposed to be grateful to? Who are we supposed to have gratitude towards? You?
you know, someone like Marquett, if we're just being honest, you're educated, you're successful. I don't know your whole business, but I suspect you're doing well for yourself financially. I know you're a tech guy. You are what most would consider an exception by global standards, let alone your specific racial group. You know, so you don't really represent the average Black man. The feeling that I get from the average Black man is sort of a lack of gratitude because they do live in the West. And when I wake up in the morning and I look around and I see all the things that I have and all the things that my ancestors fought and died for, I have a sense of gratitude.
Fought and died for or pillaged and plundered for? This nigga is crazy. Little white boy, you are out of your damn mind. I tried to be civil about the shit. This nigga crazy. Hey, look, bro. This nigga last name no, I'm not gonna say that. YouTube might strike me for that. His first name might be Adolf, if y'all know what I mean. This nigga, wow.
I don't take claim to those things as if I'm responsible, but I have a sense of pride in that I'm the offspring of that. And I have a sense of duty to kind of upkeep that. And people come here all the time. And it's not just Black people. People immigrate from other.
You got a duty to upkeep the land your forefathers stole. This nigga crazy. I don't take pride that they stole it, but I take pride in the fact that I have a duty to upkeep it. This nigga's wild.
Other countries that are just torn to hell. And I'm pro-Mexican. I'm more proud to be Mexican than American. And it's like, dude, you wouldn't, we're speaking English right now. So a little bit of gratitude, I think, is due. And I think a lot of white people would appreciate that. But I think more than anything, we can still have kind of like a cordial back and forth dialogue. But I mean, you feel it just as much as we do, Marquett, which is why you invited me and my brother here, is that you feel the tensions rising. And I think maybe there's an effort to establish some diplomacy and kind of maybe the leaders of the movement sort of control the conversation. But again, I don't know if things are going to just fizzle out from here. And I don't know.
I don't think so. They're definitely not going to. When you say fizzle out, you're talking about with the white movement?
Well, with anything, with like Black crime and white racists and all this, is it just going to go away?
The tensions aren't rising. Y'all are stirring up. Y'all are like a hornet's nest that are like stirring yourselves up and being activated. Y'all remember when Charlie Kirk got capped? And there was that video of these white boys standing outside and they're all screaming, "White men fight back! White men fight back!" And it's like, Nick, who y'all fighting back against? It was a white man who did it. We're rebelling against the system. The system is attacking the white man. Y'all do know white men run this system, right? This is the white man system. What are you talking about?
Can I ask you a small follow-up on that one, on the
Sure.
gratitude piece?
Sure.
Do you believe that blacks should have, and I'm just for simplicity, I'm just say foundational black Americans, and then like we'll just assume like we're talking about like white Americans. Do you think that blacks
Right.
should have the same amount of gratitude as white Americans, or more gratitude than white Americans?
Minimum the same amount.
What do you think is appropriate? Like
If I was black, I would like to think, I mean, I wouldn't think the same way, would I? But I would like to think I would have more, because again, you were brought here against your will, and that's not anyone's fault, but the people who brought you here.
Now I'm going to hit you guys with my second question.
Okay.
Who answered first the first time?
I
It was
did.
Jackson, right? Okay, cool. Then I'll let you answer first this time.
Sure.
If there was one thing you could improve in white culture, what would you improve?
That's a good one, because you made the point earlier that we've fallen, and I of course agree with that. I would say,
Let's start off with all the PDF activity in y'all culture. Let's start off with the high rates of those men touching them babies over there. Let's start off with that.
self-interest in the group, because we're the only group of people, I mean, by and large, that go out of their ways to meet every other group where they're at, and make egalitarianism the purpose of, I guess, just like sociological mores, and also like the purpose of the law with DEI and all those things. I think we need to start collectivizing and caring about ourselves. And I don't think it has to be a hateful thing. I think no one needs to commit violence against other people. But as soon as white people get up and start caring about ourselves and taking our own interests, like the blacks do, like the Jews do, I mean, it's going to be...
They keep trying to separate the Jews and the whites, boy.
That's all we'll need to do, really.
If I could improve one thing with white people, I would say pride. We are the best. It's time to start acting like it.
There it is. Send $20 to Marquett so you can call him a racist. We can buy a nice...
Now, racist wouldn't be accurate, because racist can describe a lot of things.
I said the blood of his forefathers run deep, man. The devil is alive and well in this young man. Look at that face. That is a face of the Gestapo right there, all right? That is the face of a man who had to flee to Argentina after 1946. You dig?
Thanks.
Right.
White supremacists.
Ooh,
Look at my
but,
own category.
wait, can I be one too? That sounds pretty cool.
Well, I think that, well, here's the challenge. So, like, for example, you were saying it doesn't have to be hateful. I think what'll happen is if you're, say you're in the group, you and your brother, you're in the, whatever the group turns out to be, and it becomes hateful or it becomes violent, I think that you're just going to go along with it. Which doesn't mean that you're necessarily like like significantly worse person than anybody else. It's really the fact of the matter. You mentioned self-interest. It wouldn't be in your self-interest to go against violence. If people say, hey, we're gonna eliminate the blacks, we're gonna take out the Asians, the Arabs, and everyone who's not white in America, bloodbath. I don't think you would try to stop anyone, is what I'm saying.
Well, the main thing
I think
to
you
remember
would
here is
join
you do
in.
not have love without hate.
Fair enough. The man is a philosopher. Hey, and one thing I want everyone watching to know is that I plan to stay in contact with these gentlemen. I have no like personal ill will. I think that Forrest said he's seen some of my content before, so you know I wall out. But it doesn't mean that I hate you guys. Pardon?
I watched you demolish Adam 22, which I actually took a little bit of glee in, by the way.
You know, one thing I'll say before we get off, and just so that I can make sure that we all get banned.
Yeah.
One thing I truly believe in is that a portion of the black and white population actually does need to be eradicated, which is to say that, you know, we have some ones, I hate to name specific names because I might catch a case, but we have some ones that are just too down bad, and we just need to eradicate them because they can't be re-educated.
I'm not going to say eradicate, but I will agree that on both sides of the street, we do have ones that are too far gone in the buffoonery. And yeah, you know, maybe we can put them on an island called stupid and let them all just duke it out for themselves. But man, That's wild, Joe. That's wild. How far are we into this? How much more is this? Because I feel like this might be the end. We're gonna keep going a little bit. Let's see.
And I think there's a
violence here, Marquett.
And I think there's a percentage of the whites that are too far down, and they also need to be eradicated. And from there, we can spring something worthwhile.
Well, those are your words, not ours, but I hear you.
Safe to say the white men aren't the ones calling for violence here. Good to know that.
Well, do you want to join in? You don't want to join in?
Yeah, I don't want to eradicate anybody. As I said before,
no one at all. Okay, he's paying for trips back to Africa, ladies and gentlemen. He's paying for trips. Hey guys, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys coming in. Shout out to Calvin. He writes, "Can you ask them about their take on IQ and temperament?" If you guys got to go, just say you got to go. I don't want to.
Honestly, this is. I mean, look, we're supposed to do
a little time.
We got like 7 minutes.
Okay.
IQ and temperament, dude. I don't know. Again, I will defer to people who actually study this stuff because
Jared Taylor.
I have somewhat of a bit of humility, despite what Marquett might think. But I don't know everything. I take some interest in psychology. IQ matters objectively, and I can say that as someone with an average IQ.
Okay, I think they're getting into a separate debate at the end of this, so that's where we're gonna end this one, man. Great debate, bro. Shout out to Marquett. Shout out to Frojax. You know what I'm saying? Even though we have diametrically opposing views, you know, I can respect a person who isn't afraid to get online or just say how they feel out in public anyway. Like I like a rattlesnake because it lets me know it's a rattlesnake. Don't slither up to me like you're a garter snake and I try to grab you to throw you in the backyard and not try to kill you. And then you bite me and my arm's falling off a week later. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me know you a snake off the rip, you dig? Let me know you venomous off the rip. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about it down in the comment section. Do y'all feel Marquett bodied these guys? Or do y'all feel like, you know, it was more even kill? Do you feel like, you know, or do you feel like Frojax might have won? You know, you might have feel like they might have won. I know I've seen some people in my comment section saying, you know, they were agreeing with them dudes. But yeah, man, that's all I got for y'all on this one. Be sure to check me out on the next one. Don't forget to like the video on your way out. Comment down in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. Road to 5K. We on the way. And until next time, gang, you know the name. It's Transition representing Gap Tooth Gains. Oh yeah, and don't forget, life isn't about making it from point A to point B. Life is about living in between the gaps. Peace out. Stay tuned, man. I'm going to link something else in the outro if you want to stay tuned and just vibe with your boy. I'm going to be dropping videos all day before I go to work. So rock on, man. Rock on. But I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, gang.
Lane sippers and mean strippers who just all up at the green and it means just fast living. And I'm not one to judge cause I've been off that mud double cup with no fucks when I pass limits. And who don't like the smoke and get gone off a cone but it would not get blown unless gas in it. Hold up, we bout to roll up. I got some smoke, keep you up like it's Folgers. Rookies try to hit the cookie, fuck around and throw up. So we drop the hottest pen verse and it blow up. But we got some recognition from a nigga, so what? We be walking down the street, get beats like they know us. Now bitches in the sheets, but the freak on the meat skis keep grab their feet. Hell yeah, make them toe touch. You know what? I go nuts, but get them steady focused. Probably from the biomass flower, no lotus. I can't even think how many trees we done smoked up. Whatever the number, gonna fuss, you'll need a tow truck. Getting shit across the seas with ease, put a boat up. That's no lie, baby girl, no joking. Shorty said she can't swim, I'm behind the back stroking. Do it for the love of buzz, stuff a blunt, make it swell and your fucking chest open.